gentlemen, welcome to tonight's episode of Channel 8 News. Tonight we have an interesting story. We've just received word that the American government had a meeting to discuss the smoking laws in America. As a result, smoking may be banned altogether in the United States.
Tonight we will gather opinions and facts about smoking and banning smoking in the U.S. And at the end of the broadcast, we will bring you live to Washington, D.C., where we can hear the verdict of the meeting. Stay tuned for an interesting interview with the Chief Specialist of the American Cancer Society. Over to you, Bob.
Thanks, Ted. I'm Bob, here with the Chief Cancer Specialist of the American Cancer Society, Dr. Smith. So, Dr. Smith, how would you feel about smoking being completely banned in the U.S.?
I think that a smoking ban would eventually be very beneficial to our country. On average, 443,000 people die prematurely from smoking-related causes, and another 8.6 million live with serious illnesses caused by smoking. If smoking was to be banned, less people would die not only from smoking, but also from secondhand smoke, which is also a very serious issue about smoking that we deal with all the time at the American Cancer Society. And eventually no one would die from smoking issues.
Thank you, Doctor, for your insightful input. Now back to you, Emily.
Thanks, Bob.
We will now hear from an environmental specialist from the Sierra Club who will give us her input on the ban on smoking.
Thanks, Ted and Emily. I'm Bob, and I'm here with Julie from the environmental group, the Sierra Club, who will give us her input on the ban of smoking in the U.S.
Well, first of all, I think that smoking should be banned in the U.S. because cigarette products produce a lot of waste. Approximately 280 cigarette butts end up on streets, waterways, parks, and sidewalks every year, and it can cost a lot of money to clean it up. Sorry. I know in San Francisco, where I'm from, in 2009, the city had to pay $10 million for just tobacco waste cleanup. Also, the environmental impact goes beyond litter. Cigarette butts contain many toxic chemicals that can pollute the environment. They are mostly made of plastic and are only biodegradable in ideal conditions, making them a long-lasting threat to the environment. Smoking needs to be banned to save our Earth.
Thank you, Julie, for being here with me. Your input was highly appreciated.
No problem. I would do anything to save the Earth.
Back to you, Emily and Ted.
Thanks, Bob, for that interesting interview.
Stay tuned for an interesting interview with an ad specialist about the influence of smoking ads on teenagers today.
We'll be right back.
Using Powtoon.
Thanks, Teddy. I am now here with Paul Silver, the manager of Innovative Ads, the most successful ad company in the world. So, Paul, what kind of advertisements are used to attract people to smoking?
Well, Bob, Generally, when an advertisement company is trying to influence the viewer, they will try to make the viewer think that they need the product or service they are selling. In this case, the product would be cigarettes. The cigarette company would make the viewer think that they need the cigarettes to be cool or have many friends.
Do you think smoking ads are effective in influencing teens to smoke?
Well, usually smoking ads are not as effective today in influencing teens to smoke. The number one reason teens smoke is peer pressure. If we want to stop teen smoking, we need to stop teens from pressuring other teens into smoking.
Thank you, Paul, for being with us today. Back to you, Teddy.
Thanks, Patrick. Now let's go to Jill, where she has an interesting interview with an ex-smoker. Over to you, Jill.
Hi, I'm Jill, and I'm here with Matt, a former smoker for over 20 years who just quit last year. Matt, since you've quit smoking, how has it affected your everyday life?
Well, now that I have quit, I have more time for other things rather than smoking. But I find a lot of things difficult, especially things that involve physical activity. Like if my grandkids want to go for a walk, I can't go because my lungs cannot support me. I also spend a lot of time in the hospital and doctor's office because I have lung cancer, COPD, and coronary heart disease, all caused from tobacco. I really wish I never smoked. It has influenced my life in so many negative ways.
Well, that's so sad.
Now for our next interview with Grace. Hello, I am now here with Grace from Defiance County, Ohio. So Grace, how would you feel if smoking was banned in the U.S.?
Smoking cannot be banned in America. Smoking is my right. It is a free country, for God's sakes. The Constitution says I have my rights or whatever, and I have a right to smoke. It is my decision to do what I want to do with my life, and it's my decision to smoke. And the government can't come in here and feel free to take over my life because I have a right to smoke.
Okay, Grace, thank you. Back to the anchor desk.
Breaking news! I have just been informed Congress has made a decision. Let's go live to Phil in Washington, D.C.
Hi, I'm Roy Blunt, and as you have heard, Congress has had a very long discussion on whether or not to ban smoking altogether. We have reached a decision that we hope is a compromise for everyone. No public places will be allowed to house smokers. The only place smoking is allowed is on well-ventilated private property. The police will be strictly enforcing these rules. Thank you, and good night.
Well, there you have it, folks.
Good night, and remember to stay tuned for next week's broadcast where we interview the First Lady of the United States.
Stay classy, San Diego.